Good morning, students.
Good morning, ma'am.
Morning, ma'am.
Please keep your videos on. Okay. So, please take chapter 5 review questions, back text questions. Okay. There are 11 questions given there. Page number 104. Okay. Please read the questions first. Read all the questions and try if you can find the answer. No need to write and keep, just read and understand. I just want you to read all those 11 questions and just try and understand if you can relate to whatever we have learned. That's it. Okay, after that, we'll discuss. When you complete reading, please tell me. How are your exams going on? Is it okay? Yes.
The first question is like a long answer.
Yes, kind of. This would come in the second terms portion. Okay. So only then we'll know. When we are closer to the exam, only we'll know if it is the MCQ itself or the descriptive method or some other innovative way by the CBs. So we have to be prepared.
Ma'am,
Hmm.
for the first question, we should write the goals and characteristics.
Yes. We'll discuss that. Mostly the goals. The introduction part we have learned, right? Nature of psychotherapy and all. Completed reading. Okay. We'll start then. Ashish, please read the first question.
Describe the nature and the scope of psychotherapy. Highlights the importance of therapeutic relationship in psychotherapy.
So obviously, when a question comes, we should write whatever things are the main terms, whatever main terms are mentioned in the question, we'll write that first. So obviously, we'll define psychotherapy. Especially for short essay and long essay questions. If you have to write those questions, then obviously you have to define that. First of all, psychotherapy. What is psychotherapy? Find the definition.
It is a therapeutic relationship between
Yes.
the client and the therapist
Yes.
in order to cure the problems of the client.
Yeah. To provide help for the client, basically. Isn't it? Yes. So you have to write that. And one important term is highlighted there, that's voluntary relationship. Nobody is forcing the therapist and the client to be in this relationship. Okay. So psychotherapy has to be defined. Then we have to write those points given in the introduction part. Please take the introduction part. Page 90. There we have some 10 points, isn't it? Elvina, please read those. Aims.
All psychotherapies aim at a few or all of the following goals: reinforcing clients' resolve for betterment, lessening emotional pressure, unfolding the potential for positive growth, modifying habits, changing thinking patterns, increasing self-awareness, improving interpersonal relations and communication,
Yes.
facilitating decision making, becoming aware of one's choices in life, relating to one's social environment in a more creative and self-aware manner.
Yeah, that's it. So all those goals can be written. Then we can write it's a two-way process: behavior modification, thought restructuring, or cognitive restructuring. All these things are focused in psychotherapy. Then what else can we write? Yeah, it is a systematic application, which means we don't just start the therapy in any way, isn't it? First, what do? We establish a rapport. We break the ice between the client and the therapist. Then, slowly, it's a slow process and also it's a systematic process, isn't it? Step by step procedure. Directly, do we go and provide a behavior modification or cognitive restructuring? No, never. We'll establish a rapport with the client and then only we can provide therapy. We can start to provide therapy. We have to understand the client's problem. We have to understand the client itself very much. Then only we'll start all these processes. Okay. So that is important. You have to write that, mention that word, systematic procedure or systematic process. Then can anybody go and practice psychotherapy? No, only trained individuals or trained professionals can provide psychotherapy. That is another highlight. So what is the first part of the question? Describe the nature and scope of psychotherapy. How can be psychotherapy useful? And is it applicable to only a particular disorder or a variety of disorders? So that you can write in your own words. Like there are different types of psychotherapies. It is applicable to a wide range of psychological disorders, including this. You can mention a few examples. So when the invigilator sees this, or when the a person who validates your answer paper sees this, they understand that you have an idea, a clear idea of this question or of this topic. So obviously marks will come. Okay. Yes. Next is second part of the question is highlight the importance of therapeutic relationship in psychotherapy. That's the second part. So you can write that as another paragraph. Okay, therapeutic relationship. What is the definition? Therapeutic relationship. Anyone? Check the text.
The special relation between client and the therapist is known as therapeutic relationship.
Yes, it's already there. No, we have marked in the textbook, isn't it? Yes or no? Yes. Okay. So you have to write that. Then you can write about the contractual nature of therapy, which means it is happening just like a contract between the therapist and the client, isn't it? They are agreeing that the therapist is agreeing that I can provide therapy for this period of time because of this problem of the client. So I'm ready to help. And the client is also voluntarily or willingly making this possible, because he or she is making a will that I will participate and I'll cooperate with the therapist to alleviate my own problem or distress. Okay, that is the case. And you can also write about the time period, the duration of therapy. Okay. So generally till until when should we continue therapy?
He or she able to control like problem solving, like
Yeah, like the client should be able to solve the problems or manage the problems on his or her own. That is the main aim of this therapy or the therapeutic relationship. Okay. So if the client is able to handle, then we don't have to interfere, isn't it? We have to make sure that they are able to handle. And in follow-up sessions, we have to see that they are actually able to handle. Maybe one day the client will come and say, now I can solve my own problem. I don't need help. But that doesn't mean that you have to stop therapy then and there. Okay. You have to you have to set follow-up sessions. If you are a therapist, you have to set follow-up sessions so that you can ensure that the client is actually able to manage his or her problems. Okay. That is also, the time period is also important time. That's it. Okay. Now, again, actually, the first question, you have to read up all the portions given in the introductory part regarding therapeutic relationship, psychotherapy, and then make a crisp or a brief essay about it, then only write. So the important thing is you have to read the textbook, understand, and then whatever you have understood, put it into words. That's it. These are just the main points that I discussed. Okay. Second question, Meghna.
What are the different types of psychotherapy? On what basis are they classified?
Yes. What are the different types of psychotherapies?
Behavioral, psychodynamic,
Existential, along with that, one more name is there.
humanistic.
humanistic or existential therapies. We have divided the therapies or psychotherapies into three. One is psychodynamic. We started with that. Then behavioral. And also third section is humanistic versus, not versus, humanistic or existential type of therapies. Okay. And based on what did we classify them? We have again some bullet points in the introduction. Please take that page. Page number 92. Grishma, please tell us the main points.
What is the cause which has led to the problem?
Hmm.
How did the cause come into existence?
Hmm.
What is the chief method of treatment?
Hmm.
What is the nature of the therapeutic relationship between the client and the therapist?
Hmm.
What is the chief benefit to the client?
Hmm.
And what is the duration of treatment?
Okay. So remember, I wrote it on the board and we connected and studied. Okay. With the flow chart and all. So make use of that, study with that. And in under each point, you have to explain how it is different in psychodynamic, how it is different in behavioral, how it is different in humanistic existential. For example, just see the first point. What is the cause which has led to the problem? So if we are following the psychodynamic oriented therapies, then obviously we'll focus on what as the cause. Childhood traumas, childhood problems, obviously that will come. Fixations would come. There is a term I told you. You should remember. What is it?
Interpsychic conflicts.
Intra-psychic conflicts. Isn't it? Intra-psychic conflicts. Not intra-psychic conflicts. That is the conflicts between ego and superego mainly. That is the focus in psychodynamics. So if we are viewing a psychological disorder and its causes, because of these intrapsychic conflicts, the individuals or the clients are having a problem. That is how we conceptualize it. If we are following psychodynamic. If we are following behavioral, what would be the cause? What would be considered as the cause? Behavioral methods.
Improper learning.
Improper learning or faulty learning. We can call it faulty learning. If you want, please note down that word faulty learning. Faulty. Faulty learning. Now, humanistic existential. What was the main concept in humanistic existential?
Questions about one's meaning of life and existence.
Yes, that's it. What is the purpose of my life? If one is not able to find the meaning of life or the purpose of life, then obviously they'll face certain psychological issues. That is how humanistic existential theories conceptualize this psychological disorders. Okay, so for each point that we have discussed here, that is all for all the 6 points. Under that, we have the concept, like how it is different for the 3 therapies. We discussed only the first point now, but we have already completed discussion on these 6 points when we discuss the chapter, when we study this chapter. So when exams are closer, please read up, understand how these 3 psychotherapies are differing or varying in terms of these 6 points. If you don't understand, please ask me. Okay. Yes. Then next one is third question, right? Elvina.
A therapist asks the client to reveal all her or his thoughts, including early childhood experiences. Describe the technique and type of therapy being used.
Therapist asks the client to reveal all her or his thoughts, including early childhood experiences. Which one would that be?
Psychodynamic.
Obviously, it would be psychodynamic and the methods would be psychoanalysis, isn't it? Free association, dream analysis, all those things. Okay. Then, what is the second part of the question? Describe the technique and type of therapy being used. Obviously, the technique is psychoanalysis or psychodynamic oriented therapies, isn't it? Yes. And what else is there? Yeah, the phases. You have to mention the phases, the use of transference, interpretation, and all those points that we discussed. Resistance. Take that page, take the initial pages where we discuss psychodynamic. Yes, you have to mention about, first you have to mention about the free association and dream interpretation. Psychoanalysis. How do we analyze the problem of the client? Then mainly you have to include these concepts, transference and interpretation. Transference comes first. Transference neurosis. We learned about positive transference, negative transference and all. Then we learned about resistance. Don't get tense now because you're having some other exams going on. This is for term 2. So obviously we'll revise before the exams. Don't worry. Just note the points, whichever you have to include in that answer. Then confrontation, clarification, all those bolded things in 95, page 95. And finally, the client has to get an outcome in the form of insight. And the types of insight also we can mention there. It is the whole process. Okay. In page 96, under duration of treatment, take page 96. Duration of treatment, we have this 3 phases. Mention that in this answer. 3 phases. Actually, this 3 phases is a summarized form of those previous 2 pages. The resistance, transference, where does this come? Where should we solve this? What is the outcome? All those things. Okay. The 3 phases of psychodynamic therapy. So if a question comes, what is the, how many phases are there in a psychodynamic therapy? Obviously 3. According to our syllabus, it is 3. And you have to know which part is which, like resistance comes in which part, insight is obtained in which part, rapport is established in which part, like that. Okay. Then next question, Raina.
Fourth one, right?
Fourth one.
Discuss the various techniques used in behavior therapy.
Techniques used in behavior therapy. Find the answer. I think it's a direct answer, no? All the techniques are given. So again, if this is an essay question, you have to write a small paragraph as an introduction. Like in psychodynamic therapies, we had some clear-cut techniques and a clear-cut theory to support it. But in behavior therapy, according to the purpose of the therapy, according to the client, I mean, it varies from client to client. If this client is having such a problem, we'll apply this form of behavior therapy. If another client is having a different problem, we'll use another behavior technique for therapy. For example, for one person, we can use this negative reinforcement. For one person, we might use positive reinforcement. For one person, we might use negative punishment like that. Okay. So based on the client, based on the client's problem, based on the availability of time, based on the situation, we have different behavior therapies, behavior techniques, and also they are taking influence or getting influence from different theories also. Okay, now the therapies that I discussed now, or techniques that I discussed now, positive reinforcement, negative punishment, all these comes under which theory?
Behavior.
Behavior theory. Which behavior theory? We discussed yesterday, I think. Yesterday or the day before?
Instrumental.
Instrumental conditioning or operant conditioning. Reinforcements and punishments are always coming under operant conditioning or instrumental conditioning. And who was the one who proposed this theory? Not Ivan Pavlov, obviously. Classical conditioning. Not Albert Bandura. Observational conditioning. So who is remaining?
Skinner.
Skinner. B.F. Skinner. Okay. Yes. So obviously you have to start with that paragraph, then start writing about the different techniques. So I think it's given in page 98. Also 97. 97 and 98. Token economy, types of reinforcements, modeling, systematic desensitization, all those techniques. Okay. Then next question, that's a direct answer. You don't have to write anything more or less other than the explanation of techniques. Just write the name of the techniques, explain what the technique is all about. If there is any underlying principle, just write that also. That's it. Then fifth question, Sneha.
Explain with the help of an example how cognitive distinction take place.
Yes. Whose theory is cognitive distortion? Or under whose theory does this cognitive concepts come in cognitive therapy? I think we learned two types, isn't it? Check the text. What are the two names? Page 99.
Albert is
Albert Ellis and
Aaron.
Aaron Beck. Correct. Albert Ellis and Aaron Beck. So based on Beck's theory, we can write this about core schemas. That is one thing. Then cognitive discussions, dysfunctional beliefs or dysfunctional schemas. And I told you that day again I drew one flow chart, isn't it? How it is automatically triggered, how it runs in a cycle. The schemas will trigger negative automatic thoughts or beliefs, and then that will cause other effects. That is how cognitive distortions are also activated. We've already learned in the previous class, so we just have to revise it before the exam. Okay, now I'm not stressing too much because today also you're having exam, right? You'll mix up the concepts. Just mention near that paragraph. Answer to question number 5. That comes on page number 99. Dysfunctional cognitive structures. The entire process is described there. So again, a direct answer. Okay, next question, Aishwarya.
Which therapy encourages the client to seek personal growth and actualize their potential? Write about the therapies which are based on this principle.
Easy question. What is it? Anyone? Growth, self-growth, development, increase self-awareness.
Humanist.
Humanistic. That's correct. Humanistic, existential type of therapies. And fundamental assumption, obviously, that's again direct. Fundamental assumptions of humanistic existential therapies. Then, causes of distress. What are the main causes of distress? Inability to find meaning, inability to find purpose in life. Then if some or the other factor is stopping you from attaining your self growth or self actualization, that is another cause of disorder. All those things, the obstacles that come in your way when you're on the way to self actualization, that is the problem, that is causing the main problem. Then yeah, the obstacles again caused by the society, the family, the neighbors, or your relatives, or your friends, maybe, which is stopping you from attaining your goal. That is also the cause of psychological disorder here. Okay. Then therapy is based on humanistic existential approach. You have to write about logotherapy by V for Amal, V for who developed logotherapy? See the textbook, you have it right, not an exam. Refer the text. I have your video switched off. Please switch it on. Found out? Logotherapy. Meghna?
Viktor Frankl.
Viktor Frankl. So you have to write about logotherapy by Viktor Frankl. Client-centered by
Carl Rogers.
Carl Rogers, obviously. And Gestalt therapy by two people.
Frederick Perls.
Fritz
And
Perls and Laura Perls. Frederick or Fritz Perls and Laura Perls. Okay, that's correct. So you have to write about those three. That is coming under humanistic existential. Okay. Then next question number 7. Amal, read. Question 7. Read question number 7. Amal Raj. Sorry.
What are the factors that contribute to healing in psychotherapy?
Hmm.
Enumerate some of the alternate therapies.
Yes, again a direct question. Healing in psychotherapy. That I think some of you took a seminar on it, isn't it? Yes. And also alternative therapies. That is also a seminar topic. Yoga, all the asanas, the Patanjali yoga, meditation, all those things. It's coming under alternative therapies. And healing, we have clear-cut answer for that in the last section. That is page 109. No, sorry, 102. Factors contributing to healing in psychotherapy. Four points are there. Mark it and keep. That's the answer for question number 7. Okay. Now, Mehak, can you read question 8? Network issue? Okay. Ashish? No. Diana? 8. Question number 8.
What were the techniques used in the rehabilitation of the mentally ill?
What are the techniques used in the rehabilitation of the mentally ill? That is also a direct question. The last section of our chapter, that is rehabilitation of the mentally ill. Social skills training, then vocational training, occupational therapy, all those things are coming under that topic. And what is the need of rehabilitation? How is rehabilitation done, especially of the mentally ill? To write on that. It would be better if you can share all your seminar PPTs into a group. Can you do that? So with the pictures now, it'll be easy to study. Okay, please share that PPTs to our group. Okay, 9th question, Alvina.
How would a social learning theorist account for a phobic fear of lizards, cockroaches? How would a psychoanalyst account for the same phobia?
By now you have to, you have become capable of understanding the causes of psychological disorder, isn't it? So phobia is viewed by two individuals. One is following the psychodynamic and the other one is following the, which one? Social learning theory. Social learning theories means? Social learning, whose theory is that?
Bandura.
Bandura's concept. Albert Bandura's social learning theory. It's also known as observational learning. Don't confuse with the names, okay? Sneha, also please note that you have not attended learning classes, right? Last year? Yeah, so social learning theory by Albert Bandura. It is also known as observational learning. In simple terms, we call it observational learning, modeling, imitation and all. Okay. Yes. So one person is following social learning theory to find the causes or to assign causes. The other person is following which kind of theory? Psychoanalyst, means psychodynamic oriented theories. And what is the disorder? Phobia towards lizards or cockroaches. Cockroaches, we call it arthrophobia, I think. Yeah. So how would you conceptualize it? If you were a behavior therapist or a social learning theorist, how would you conceptualize it? Tell. What happens? Obviously, in behavior therapy, what is the assumption? The faulty learning is the cause of psychological disorder, isn't it? Yes. So if you're a social learning theorist is focusing on social learning or observational learning. So how would you conceptualize this phobia in terms of that? Tell me what you think, and then we can correct. Am I sleeping or thinking? Okay. Thinking time is over. Now speak. Imagine I'm a child with a phobia towards lizards and cockroaches. So you are a social learning theorist. Okay. So I have come to, and you are also a psychotherapist. So I have come for help, or my parents have taken me to this well-known psychotherapist for help, which is you. So what would you suggest, or how would you conceptualize my problem? I need inputs.
If
Hmm.
person sees that particular animal
Hmm.
hurting someone else, then
Yeah,
the person
that
will feel.
obviously that can be one, or maybe maybe I was when I was a kid, I have been playing with this cockroaches and all. I would take lizards and not in reality, imaginary character. Okay, so I would take lizards and cockroaches in my hand, and I'll play with them as if it is my toy. Okay. Now my mom and dad is not nearby, so when they come home after work, they see me playing with this. Okay, and they scream out loud, and they give a meaning. I mean, they conceptualize this as something very scary, something very bad to play with. Okay, so that whenever I'm looking, I'm seeing my mom and dad with this cockroach or lizard, they are jumping off, screaming and running around, and they are showing such behavior. So obviously I'm observing them, isn't it? And I'm learning from them that this is a scary thing, so I should not play with it, isn't it? That's how observation learning takes place. When they are around, so obviously, if a mom is fearful towards or dad is fearful towards this cockroaches and lizards, obviously the kid is also likely to get that problem, isn't it? Yes. And if the parents are focusing too much that this is a very bad thing to play or this is very dangerous, then obviously the child will learn that eventually. And when the child becomes an adolescent or an adult also, this might be in them. Okay, that is how social learning theorists describe it. Now what about the other one? Psychoanalysts, obviously unconscious, the Freud's concept, they'll give some unconscious meaning to that, unconscious desires, then unconscious urges and forces inside, and maybe intrapsychic conflicts also. That is how they conceptualize it. Okay, I think it's already time, right? Yes. How many questions more? Two more that we'll discuss in the next class. Okay. Thank you. Did we
Thank you, ma'am.
discuss the previous chapter's questions? No, right? Disorders? No. So we'll discuss this along with that. Thank you. Bye.